What's up, guys? Chris, welcome to a brand new video, and today we're back with the series where I slows my say by creating giant Legacy's pop culture recreations. One mind comes up inside of Lego Fortnite, so all that left is Stritter Chaos. And today's episode is quite literally that, as the original intro for this video accidentally got scrapped while I was deleting a lot of the time-lapse footage. Casual drip on this channel. But welcome to a brand new video, and today we're creating Green Hill Zone inside of Lego Fortnite. A build that I've been wanting to do for a very, very long time, and something I'm really, really excited for you guys to see at the end of the video. It's currently 3 AM as I'm recording this, and it's really something that I'm proud of, and seriously, it's very exciting. But first, to start off today's video, as it is going to be formatted a bit differently than how we normally do videos in this series, this video is going to be treated both as a tutorial and also a normal Lego City video. So if you don't know what these Lego City videos normally are, they're basically your casual Lego Fortnite videos, where you have a bunch of these cool structures that we give tours of. And in today's episode, I'm giving you also a good tip on how you create the Green Hill Zone build that I'm building. Not really create it straight up to bat, but basically give you guys an idea how to make the structures for yourself. And to give you guys an idea how we're doing that, basically what you'll be needing is 3 main galleries. And technically, you don't really need the other galleries that I'm mentioning. So what I'm using for this build is Friendly Neighborhood, Generics, Log Cabin, and Supernova Academy. Now, the one build that you definitely do not need for this at all is actually Friendly Neighborhood. This is the one that has not been in the item shop for a while. All you really need then, if you're someone that's new to Lego Fortnite, is you can just really use Pleasant Park, because that will also work well. And let me show you guys just before a tutorial. And you can basically have a wall system like this. So where is the almighty wall here? All the way down here. We'll be using the half walls to basically have the round piece here. Then you have the almighty piece from Pleasant Park. Then you have this piece. Now for this piece, you want to be very, very peculiar. So what I'm doing here is I'm grabbing the brown piece right there and doing another one of these like that. And then you want to go ahead and grab yourself this guy here. And you want to grab at least, I won't say, enough for this one, make sure you have this little effect going on and have that gap like that. So after you have this, you have that, and then you go ahead and push the number one of these 2x8s right here, and then grab the 2x4 like so. By saying 2x4s, it's technically, no, it is a 2x4. It is a 2x4. I don't know why it says 2x2 on there, because it is a 2x4. But what you need now is actually the generics area. When you'll be using the generics area to grab the floor piece to match this lovely piece here with the roof like so. And it basically brings all the way down so you have a full on half wall, so you gotta hide the white corners like that, which is really useful. And afterwards, what you'll be needing is Supernova Academy to go like so over here to pull up this effect like this, like that. And then you want to go ahead and go over here and grab a fence of choice like so, which I'm gonna be using Durber. That's the one that appears in the item shop the most whenever they do bring stuff in the item shop. And we're gonna bring this guy right about here like so. And then the reason why we're pulling the thruster there is so we can use a little trick called the thruster trick to allow us to make these little things go sideways. So we can have something like this. And the reason why it's on top of the floor is so it's even like that. So you get to hide the white piece of the floor on the sides like this. And then what you want to do is you want to go ahead and grab yourself a little thing like this. Then you want to go like that. And then what you would likely do if we had like more of the effects going on here is it'd be like this, and then you kind of get what I'm saying. Now, another thing I do want to showcase here, and I'm going to be showcasing the Friendly Neighborhood gallery as I'm doing this, because that is the gallery I used while creating this, is I'm going to go ahead and grab Log Cabin once again. Where is it? Like so. And then what we want to do is go all the way down here and go and grab ourselves a little trick like this. So in the build, there's going to be a few times you find yourself with these situations where you have corners like this. And what you want to be wanting to do is you have to go like this. Go ahead and grab one of these. Then you want to go grab you. And then you want to grab this guy like again, like this. And then we do a similar technique here. And then that's when you would grab this guy right here. And then kind of repeat the same design technique on the signs. So we're going to bring him like so up forward, and then this would go up like this, and then this would just be free of the log cabin pieces like so. And then there's other situations where you find yourself in these predicaments where you'll be needing the galleries to kind of do this sort of effect, which what you can do here is when you want to do this little like inverted corner. You can have this little design go like this, and then you can have a little technique going like that. and then you build up like so. And that's pretty much the basics of what you need to know when it comes to building Green Hill Zone inside of Lego Fortnite. So with that being said, we're going to jump into a quick time-lapse of the build that you saw over there. Well, don't really see over there because I purposely hid it from you guys. And we'll just go back and talk about how to make the loop inside of Green Hill Zone. Perfect transition. Let's go!
Alright, time for the loop. And for this part of the video, we're going to be doing something a bit different and actually showcasing a speedy build of how I created the loop for the Green Hill Zone build. And I'm going to give some explanation of how to create some of this stuff, as it is a bit confusing. For starters, we're using 2 8x8 pieces, and then using 2 2x16 pieces to create the floor, and we're doubling it on the bottom. And then what we're using after that is basically using multiple pieces to create the circular shape on both sides of the build. I would go in depth on how to create this, but at the same time, it is confusing. Even for me. Like, it's like when I'm building, I know what I'm doing, but when I'm trying to explain it, it's like a whole different thing. So hopefully the speed build itself is like good enough explaining what I'm describing here, as you're seeing the circular shape be emerging in front of us, which looks absolutely wonderful if you ask me. Just look at it. And as I'm slowly creating this, I do want to say this build is pulled directly from my Survival series. If you don't know, in January I created a full-on Green Hill Zone area, which inspired this whole entire video back in January, when I added a Green Hill Zone area to my Survival base, which I thought was a cool little bit of trivia for you guys as we continue on with this build. And you might also be noticing we're in a totally different area from where we started the video, and that's largely because the build limit struck once again. But first, we're going to talk about the almighty walls, which once again we're grabbing the half walls here. We're going to be making this little 2x4 little bit here, and then we're doing the same thing on both sides. And then we're grabbing different neighborhood pieces, and then you're seeing I'm leaving a gap, and that's largely to do with this mentioning that we mentioned at the start of the video with the generic sky bringing the floor all the way up to the size of the wall pieces to give like a smooth thing, so we don't have to worry about corner pieces. Hopefully that makes sense. After this, we're going to be talking about what... God, I'm throwing myself off here because of the logical side of me. But yeah, this whole build reached max build limit on the original area, which is why you're not seeing the time-lapse as well for that section. And instead, you're just watching this cool, awesome loop gameplay before we get to the massive tour that you'll be seeing later on in the video. But yeah, as you see here, we're placing up the walls, which I did want to mention here. The walls themselves are going up to 5 high on all sides to give this cool, lovely effect you're seeing in front of us here. And then, as you see here, I made a little jerk effect because bringing the generic stereo back once again for the top here. They'll raise it up, and then raise it up again. Look at that cool, amazing effect that you got going on there. That's cool. And the reason why it's seeing here is we're repeating the same floor design all the way on the top. So to give this whole circular effect you see at the loops inside of Sonic, we're repeating the design again. And I'm trying not to repeat myself again. But yeah, it's really cool looking on this build. Like, look at it. It's not that impressive yet. Trust me, it looks a lot better in the end. You gotta trust the process. But as you're putting this all together, you're seeing that one of the main things and benefits about being a Lego creator on the side is you get low levels. I'm recording this voiceover literally over the gameplay that you're watching right now. And I was like, when I first recorded, like, the first draft of this recording, I was like, what the heck is that sound that was just there? And I'm leaving this in so you guys need to hear it too. But god, it's a dragon. Oh my god, that's beautiful. I love it so freaking much. Oh my god, that's amazing. But yeah, we're going to continue putting on the other side of the upside down pit to give the final part of the circular effect, which once again looks absolutely and remarkably stunning. Which I do want to mention as we're getting towards this. There's 2 ways they can do this build, in my opinion. You can have the grass on the tops, and like my survival base, or you can make it like the Lego Idea set, or the versions that you see in different games inside Sonic where it has no grass on top. So it's personally up to your preference. For this version of the build, I decided not to add the grass on top, largely as the max build was a massive concern while creating Green Hill Zone, as I didn't want to reach it again. Which, yeah, I'm glad to say that we didn't finish the build without reaching max build limit, which I am genuinely surprised. I really thought we were going to hit it. And as you see here, we are filling in the rest of the walls, and we're working now on the top of the build, which involves a cool little thing by using these pieces. And you gotta make sure it is, like, kind of even. I'm trying to think the proportions again. I believe 4. Yeah, it's 4. On when it's, like, kind of combined together. You make sure it's, like, overhanging on the other side by 4, and you raise it up by 1 more once you get the original layer on, like so. And then once you get that cool design, you want to repeat everything again on all the sides here, like that. And then you want to do the same thing on that side. Pretty cool. And then you want to grab the different color to make a rare design, like this. And then once again, you want to raise it up by 2, and I believe that's an other 4x4 gap? I might be mistaken. Yes, it is a 4x4 gap. Good. I thought so. I just wanted to make sure because I don't want to mislead you guys. And then you do the same thing right here. And then the final bit you want to do is add a bit more pizzazz on the bottom of the upside down bit. And after you do that, that's pretty much how you create the almighty iconic Sonic loop inside of Lego Fortnite. So that being said, I'm going to send it off to past Chris.
All right, it's been a few hours. It's been a few hours, and I've concocted something very cool, and I can't wait to show you guys. You guys probably saw in the thumbnail already. Knowing me, you got to get those clicks. So, with that being said, let's just do what you guys are probably here for, and give the tour. And a bit of a spoiler is probably on to like your right actually, which is the Pokemart. I love including the Poke Center. It's not a Poke Center actually. It's not a Poke Center. It's not a reskin Poke Center. It's a Pokemart. Okay, I can even show you. You go in here. It might look like the Poke Center build, but it is a Pokemart. Okay, it's a Pokemart. You got all these food and consumables in here. You got some cool little beverages. It's a Pokemart. It's a Poke Center reskin. I like including the Poke Center. Don't judge me. But yeah, we have the whole on build of Green Hill Zone, which, God, I have to be honest with you guys, is so surreal that we're finally here. As this build, I didn't mention this at the start of the video, and I don't think I mentioned it during the whole loop part of the build. As, of course, that whole section, I still don't know how I'm doing it yet. It's currently like 2 a.m. for me right now, and I'll find out something, because I'm probably going to try to make something quick so I do get some sleep, but also find a way to make it as helpful as I can for you guys. So it might be like a speed build that's like a slow down version with cool like points on the screen, or maybe some vocal cues, because I do have a slight understanding how to create the loop without having to go back to my reference images. Because of course it is a design I made like back in January, and I do know how to make it, so I can give a slight tutorial if I can to give certain tips on how to do it. But overall, like, seriously though, this thing is absolutely amazing, and oh my god, it's so surreal. This build was something I started way back in January, and the fact that we're here is very surreal. In fact, I'll just show the original community post that I posted back in February with the original draft of this video, which eventually turned into the new Mascot City Part 1 video, which I'm very glad it did, because that whole project is something I'm really excited about. But the fact that we finally have a finished version of Green Hill Zone is really insane to me. And actually, you probably noticed that we're in a totally different area, and that's largely because the build limit striked once again. I tried to take out the Green Hill Zone twice, and I had two options, because I spent 3 hours making the original draft that you saw in the time-lapse, which was pretty much destroy everything I created and scrap the video, or move the whole plans to a different area, which I decided to go for that route. And I'm so glad that I did, because I created the build that, as a huge Sonic geek, I've been wanting to make since January, when I first included Green Hill Zone in my survival base for my whole survival series on my channel. And it's just beautiful. As you see here, we have another cool pixel art creation similar to Pikachu in the last Lego City video. We have a cool Sonic sprite from Sonic 1, utilizing the pieces that we have currently inside of Lego Fortnite, which I must say, I adore how he looks. Look at our good Chad, he looks absolutely wonderful. We have a cool little bus station here, so if you want to travel to the almighty Green Hill Zone area, we can do that from here, which is amazing. That's kind of what this whole island is really for, honestly, besides the whole Green Hill Zone, Sonic sprite that's being here. Guys, don't judge if I just start rambling about random stuff. It's 2 a.m. But going over to the actual build itself, it is pretty simple. There's a lot of stuff that you probably recognize from different parts of this video, which is, once again, honestly is why I had the video just set up the way it is, as it is a bit different from how I normally do these Lego City videos. As this is more like, kind of like a mixture of my typical format of Lego City, but also a bit of a tutorial showcasing how to create the overall design, as the build itself is very, very simple. And that's largely because the Green Hill, like the whole Supernova Academy green pieces that we're using for the floor in here, are individual pieces like this. They're 2x4s, 2x16s, and they can take up a lot of memory on the build limit, which is something we want to avoid as builders. And why I'm honestly surprised that I was able to finish this thing. I was really expecting the build limit to just show up like last minute, but no, it is finished. And I was even able to like add these like different trees and the computer screen here to reference like the whole like, you know, in Sonic where you can like jump on get different power-ups like coins, or sometimes you can lose a life by getting the Eggman one, or just like different like stats and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. And of course you have all these different little tricks that I'm using as well. We have this cool bridge that's using the thresher trick to have the log pieces from the log cabin gallery go upside, kind of go sideways, get this cool effect here. And then, of course, you also got some height increase utilizing the log cabin gallery and generic floor gallery to kind of create this cool like incline in height. And the same thing can be said of these cool curves here, which is utilizing the pieces from earlier that I was mentioned, start of the video, which is like friendly neighborhood and log cabin gallery. Log cabin gallery is the Giga Chad of this whole build, pretty much. Good thing it's free too. And of course you get the loop here, which is pretty cool. Really cool design choice that I put there. And yeah, like, you got some cool stuff going on here. You got some fences from the Banana Jam Gallery from that pass, and of course the Daft Punk bundle for the palm trees here. And everything together created an amazing recreation of Green Hill Zone, which I am so beyond happy that it's finally done. Like, it's a weird feeling because this whole project is something I've been wanting to do since January, and to see a finalized version of it, it's really cool, really exciting, and something I'm incredibly proud of. And I really hope you guys did enjoy this video as much as I did. In fact, I'm actually going to put up the original concept art for the whole Green Hill Zone project that I was originally going to make back in January. I did show this in the new Mascot City video, but I think it's fitting to show it here again, as it does fit pretty well. And this is kind of the rare time where we have back-to-back Lego City Revamped videos. This is kind of weird. This hasn't been a thing in a while. But I hope you guys did enjoy this one, as once again, like, it's seriously, I am very proud of this one. It's something, like, it's kind of weird. I don't know the feeling, like, if you have a project that you've been wanting to do for such a long time and you finally finish it, it is very surreal, and something, like, I love the feeling when you get that. And overall, this whole build together is something that I absolutely, like, dude, just look at this whole thing. Look at it. Especially Sonic's reflection in the water. That is so sick. Like, this is so cool. I love it so freaking much. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, definitely consider leaving a like. And if you're new here and you really like to see these more, definitely consider subscribing so you don't miss out on more Lego Fortnite content just like this. And with all that normal stuff out of the way, if you guys have any suggestions for what you guys want to see in future Lego City videos, then definitely let me know down in the comments below, as I will be really interested to see what you guys want to say. I do have some ideas, like getting back to the whole Justice build that I kind of had left on November, or stuff like Peach's Castle, or Bowser's Castle, or just different builds. I think it'd be a lot of fun to tackle more gaming IPs, to have like more pixel art, because I'm kind of a sucker currently for making pixel art inside Lego Fortnite, if I'm being honest with you guys. But yeah, with that being said, this is pretty much it for today's video, and I hope you all have a spectacular day, and I'll see you next time. Peace out, everyone.